on. Much as I talk, and my wife was living, much as I talk Indian, and never take no interest, you know. But my daughter, Christina, can understand, pretty good. But this young generation now, they're not interested in this Indian language and Indian ways, No, they don't. It'd be nice if they have that ways, For instance, there, a long time ago, look at this basket they used to make there, the Indians, you see. Yeah, and the rest, very nice. Then they don't make them no more, and they can do it. That's the way it is. Yeah, the young generation now, they ought to be taught to have our ways, Indian ways, like, make basket and make something, Yeah, but I don't know. Disappearing, all right. It's no question about that.
For years, many Indian people of Northern California have felt as Chris Young. They have good reason, for their ways, their culture, has been the victim of white indoctrination. Following the brutal first contact with white men, after gold was discovered in California, came the miners, the land seekers, homesteaders, the soldiers and missionaries, each progressively taking a deeper toll of the cultural treasures that had served these people thousands of years. Then 3 generations of ostracism and denigration of those who had escaped the first bloody massacres and town burnings. Indian tradition has been eroded with time, white man's time. It has been taken from the old, it has been withheld from the young. We are now in a period of transition, one crucial to the preservation of the souls of a conquered people. The time is short. Only the elderly yet possess these last unclaimed riches of our great American heritage. Today, an attempt is being made to regenerate Indian culture. We call one such attempt Indian mainstream. Financed by the Department of Labor, Indian Mainstream is administered by the Center for Community Development, an agency of Humboldt State College, College of the Redwoods, and the County of Humboldt in Northwest California. It is supervised by Richard and Sally McClellan and by myself, Tom Parsons. But the people most responsible for the program's real meaning are the Indian elders, who carry not the academic credentials of white society, but are walking universities of Indian heritage. They feel an infinite love and understanding of their natural environment and their past. At present, one of the most significant accomplishments of Indian Mainstream has been the reconstruction of the ancient town of Takimishling. Mr. Rudolph Socktish is in charge of this project. He is also the spiritual leader of the Hupa tribe, minister of its sacred jump dance ceremony and white deerskin dance. Through him, the Hupa Indians find themselves a proud people. Studying under Mr. Socktish, Richard McClellan feels this perhaps more than anyone.
Our culture is a way of finding ourselves. The youth of today, the majority of them think that the way to find themselves is through drugs and stuff. But because our culture is again our religion, our beliefs. It's you that the more you learn of your culture, the more you can see yourself, and you find yourself. And there's no need for this aggressiveness, recognition, or money, influence, or power. The Indian culture is me, and I'm the Indian culture. There's no separation at all. In nature and culture, there's no difference. It's just two different words, that's all. There's no difference in meaning. You're part of nature, and the nature around you, the environment around you is you too.
In the early years, the taikyu, or sweat house as it is called, was used for ceremonial cleansing of both body and soul. It was here that man smell was eliminated before hunting and stalking game. Inside the junta, or living house, people worked and sat around the central fire pit. Food, implements, and firewood were stored around the ledge. Another ancient village is being reconstructed at Witchpeck on the Klamath River, under the supervision of Yurok Indian Mr. Sam Jones. Very few people today have seen buildings like these, though they have been classed architectural masterpieces. This project is a milestone in the reawakening of Indian structural arts. Here is where it began, an experimental attempt by the Center for Community Development to restore the Native American languages and literature of Northwest California. A phonetic Indian alphabet was developed. Indian research committees and classes were begun with the tribe's natural leaders as informants. Now, 4 years later, the California Department of Education has issued the first eminent persons teacher certificates in history to 2 Indian teachers of American Indian languages, literature, and culture. Mr. Elmer Jarnigan teaches the Hupa language in the public schools of the Hupa Valley Reservation.
When we was having our white deerskin dance, everything pertaining to that dance has to be done in the Indian way. And we have to talk in Indian. When I wasn't saying anything, I overheard someone ask somebody else, "Now what is he saying?" You see, that person didn't know what I was talking about. That's why I think this is very important for the children to learn it now. And in order for us to preserve our ceremonial rights and fishing and hunting rights, our language has to go along with it. We have to have this language. Not only for the Hupas, but I think every other Indian people should teach their young children how to speak their language.
The National Geographic Society's book, Indians of the Americas, calls the Hupa's white deerskin ceremony one of the world's most beautiful. For years, it had been virtually impossible to perform correctly because of a growing shortage of dugout canoes. Sculptured redwood canoes are a vital requirement for the deerskin dance, and in the old days were the very backbone of commerce and industry on the rivers and coast. When the Simpson Timber Company was asked to donate 2 giant redwood logs, only 1 or 2 dugouts were yet in use. And in all the Indian world, only 2 or 3 Yurok elders still knew the canoe builder's art. Indian law and tradition required that the inland Hupas obtain their canoes through trade with the coastal Yurok, Talawich, or Wiyats. On the Hupa reservation, Haynes Moore displayed his ancient craftsmanship and took pride again in teaching his vanishing art to younger men. While the boat is being hollowed out, constant attention must be given to the density of the walls. They must be made exact in thickness and weight, which permits the superior balance and performance of this canoe in rough water. Generally, when a boat builder works by himself, perhaps with his wife in a camp far upstream, it takes around 4 months to complete one canoe. In Trinidad, site of the ancient coastal trade center called Churai, craftsman Dewey George is assisted by Mr. Charles Donahue and others. Nearing completion, the canoe builders must burn out the canoes. This steels them by bringing the natural lacquers to the surface. With these canoes finished, the sacred white deerskin dance, which may not be photographed, can be held during any 9 days and nights in the early fall. When, exactly, is determined only by the Hupa Indians' spiritual leader, Mr. Rudolph Saktish. One of the center's earliest Indian mainstream projects started in Crescent City. Here, encouraged by their natural leader, Mr. Sam Lopez, the Talawich Indians organized an Indian Heritage School. They invited their friends and neighbors, the Klamath River Yuroks. Mrs. Mary Parsons teaches about the rich variety of traditional foods and medicines.
What were you telling me about this one here?
Oh,
That I didn't understand how you fix it to eat it.
These grow on the rocks. You generally get them with the mussels.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing we ever called them, we knew the name of by boots. And then all you do is boil them, and then this skin comes off, and they're very delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the periwinkles. You boil them, and they're very good too.
Now this seaweed looks different from that one. Why is that?
This seaweed was picked in the afternoon, and after the seaweed was old, and it doesn't taste a bit good. You can't hardly eat it. But this was gotten early in the morning, before the sun, the first tide, and before the sun reaches it, and it is very delicious. There's a big difference.
Can you describe how seaweed tastes?
Well, you warm this, and then it gets crispy, and if if it's too hot, you can't eat it at all. But it's very good. It has a salt, crisp taste. And years ago, our people used mud hen grease, and I like it with bacon grease, and it's very delicious.
You put that on it like butter on top.
Some people put butter on it, and it's good. Like I said, too thick?
No.
You like that taste, huh?
They're good.
Oh. Now see, I've had this in the deep freeze too long.
Don't taste any different than I've ate it before.
No. This has been in a deep freeze too long. Take a little bit of that and you can taste it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I tasted that.
You can taste it. It's like it's burnt, isn't it? I'm not going to put it in the deep freeze anymore. If I can't do it correctly, get it real thin and smoke it right, then you're just wasting time because I don't like it.
In the dance, they add a lot of beauty with the sound of the shows.
And every one sounds different. You can take this and it sounds different too, see? And this one sounds different. See? The sound. Then these sound different again.
And then it's...
These got bigger, heavier sounds.
Now this is the apron part, you said?
Apron part that goes under the dress.
This would go in front.
Yes.
And then this would go over it, around.
Yes,
huh?
this goes on the back. On the back side.
Oh, that's a beauty. Oh, wow. Listen to that. That is beautiful. And these are pine nuts.
Pine nuts. Those are all pine nuts. And see, these are made with bare grass, too. All woven with them. And you can see how they're made underneath. See? How it's all cut in there, braided underneath.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And these are all tied on there separately. All these.
And these dresses have, besides being such a beautiful piece of art, they're when an Indian looks at them, I imagine you see a lot of meaning through your religion.
Oh,
knowing,
yes. Yes.
Knowing how they are used.
Yes, real valuable things when you take them out, you know. It's been put away for so long, they just begin to come out. They just begin to dance again here lately. So they've been out. They say they cry when they don't get out and dance. They have to get out and dance every so often, and they feel there. That's what my mother used to always say. There's a lot of abalones there.
It sure
I don't know where
is.
they ever got them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They must have been traded from someplace else.
Mr. Lopez taught the Tallawith people's traditions and history, geography, and religion.
As I look back on the scene now, our Indian language and our old ancestors' ways are too fastly disappearing. It's no more. And I'm willing to do this, and if any of the younger children's generation wants to pick it up, I'd be glad to have them do it. And I'm more than willing to see them try to do this in order to keep our old ancestors' ways still alive. Most of my younger people, teenagers even right now, if you ask them anything about the old Indian ways, they don't know. And therefore, if we can teach them now, and I'm glad to say if they have the blood in them, maybe they can pick it up pretty fast. It makes me feel good. It does my heart good to see if there's any younger people that wants to pick up the old ways or pick up what we're trying to do and to try to educate them the right way. I'm glad to have them, and I'm glad to talk with them in order to teach them right.
The Indian mainstream dancers, youths of Pequon and Wichpec, who just months ago knew little of their culture. A lasting tribute to their people and to their land.
Tēti ki un ya nyan mkhine ko e khotya ho kulik tainu ksen nukon kha aya kten me hun ste khonu ai tikyang mchet n khotnaya kte ai ti ho khotya ho kulik Jij gaat de nood laten, nice gaan te. Ja, gewoon hij ja om te eten, nee man, dan gaat ja huwelijk te. Hij gaat ze tent, hij ja om te eten. Hij ja, nee, ik wil ja net in tang. Wat hij gewoon aan te.